So we're here, TIR Nation, inside the media room in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, joined by, of course, Craig Robinson. Craig, let me get a couple of thoughts. Winners and losers. Who won this thing? Who lost this thing?
Look, the biggest difference between Iowa and South Carolina in the final weeks is that there's two debates before South Carolina votes, and there were no debates in the final week of Iowa. I think Newt Gingrich was a winner tonight, very strong. I thought Perry was good, which was surprising. It might be a little too late. I thought Santorum scored points in terms that he took on Mitt Romney, he took on Ron Paul. I think that was important. He tried to take on Gingrich, which I don't know if he moved the numbers there. I thought they all had good nights. I think the guy who had the worst night was Mitt Romney, and I think that's the story coming out of this debate.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Romney, and you see it in some of the social media chatter already, looked flustered. He looked a little lost. It was obvious that it wasn't going his way. The ability for him to stay above the fray. You know, everyone talks about he does well in these debates because he gets out unscathed. Nobody lands a punch on him. That's not true tonight. Gingrich landed serious punches, and Rick Perry landed serious punches. There is absolutely no doubt about it. But if you're going to rank winners, go 1 through 5 with me, Craig. How do you 1 through 5 this debate?
I thought it was interesting that Gingrich won, Santorum 2, but he's close to Perry. I thought Perry had a nice, strong debate. 4, I'd probably go. You have to give it to Ron Paul, I guess, who had an okay debate, nothing great. But I thought Romney really had a bad debate. He got, the part that we thought was going to be tough for him was going to be the stuff on Bain. It wasn't. He actually survived that really well. He actually, I thought, did very well in that part of the debate. I thought where he struggled was definitely when the exchange with Santorum. Santorum came ready to confront him on those attacks, on those super ads. Romney kept trying to hide behind the fact that I can't communicate him, there's nothing I can do, and Gingrich leveled him later in the debate and said, look, if you can't influence your super PAC, how are you going to have any influence as President of the United States?
It's a very, very strong point, and one of the things I found interesting was that I even said on the radio show today, you're not going to be able to come out your guns a-blazing in Thursday's debate in Charleston. That's about the uplifting debate, how you see America going forward and getting people rallied to your side. This was the debate to come out with the knives. And I thought Santorum did a good job on Paul. I thought Paul did great in the beginning of this debate. He faded at the end of the debate. But I haven't seen this Gingrich ever. And I haven't seen this Rick Perry ever. And I got to tell you, as a guy who has been hard on Rick Perry and has questioned again and again and again as a Tea Party guy, when will the Tea Party forgive Rick Perry his earlier debate performances and allow him back in this race? I think that what Rick Perry said is, I'm back in this race. It might be the very end. I might not be able to get through South Carolina, but I guarantee you he's no longer in last place in South Carolina after tonight.
I think that's fair. I think that Rick Perry, part of this process is rehabilitating his image. He's done that in tonight's debate. He's shown that he can go up there and compete. This is the Rick Perry we thought we were getting when he entered this contest. And obviously, he can debate. He can hold his own on the debate stage. It's probably too late to move his numbers so much in South Carolina where he's a factor to win it. But I think that people have to, if you're a Rick Santorum or Newt Gingrich, you have to look at Perry and his debate performance tonight and wonder, is he going to attract enough votes where he might prevent me from getting to 30%, 33%, what it might take to actually beat Mitt Romney in the state and slow down?
Absolutely. I don't see it any other way. I actually think that you're going to see the dial move over the course of the next couple of days. I think that what Perry did tonight was say, hey, remember all that stuff I did in Texas? That wasn't a fluke, because I think that's the way people were really going. That was the kind of feeling you got. What in the world were people in Texas thinking? What were they voting for? This guy who couldn't put together a sentence? There was not one flub tonight. There was not one falter tonight. Romney had a series of missteps, mispronunciations, those stutters that if it was Perry, we'd all say, oh, there's Perry again doing those Perry things. Perry was near flawless tonight, and I have to believe that the Tea Party is going to come around a little bit. Is it going to be enough? I don't know. But I will say this as we take just tonight's performance and try and extrapolate it out to Saturday, I'm no longer believing any poll that happened before this debate began. I am not going to sit here and believe that Romney, by any stretch, I'm not going to believe that Romney is in the lead right now in South Carolina. I think that changes immediately. Craig, give me some thoughts on that.
Sure, I haven't seen any poll that's been taken and put out in South Carolina in the last 5 days that I think actually shows what's going on. The Insider Advantage poll has a very long history of being kind of an outlier in terms of the numbers in other states. The poll, the Reuters poll that's been being pushed was an online poll that showed him 21 points up. I don't think we've seen a good poll of South Carolina yet. I don't think Mitt Romney is going to run away with this, and I think it's anyone's ball game. And I think we saw 5 candidates on the stage tonight who are really vying to do very well in the state, and I think they all have opportunities.
I find it almost surreal. Better. I find it almost surreal in a way to think about what we saw tonight, and to be able to say after Iowa and after certainly New Hampshire, and you see the recent poll numbers in Florida where Romney's at 42% to Gingrich at 25%, and to actually be able to say this race ain't done. Like this, today is the first time I actually see that things could go past South Carolina. That Super Tuesday is going to really, really matter in this race. Am I the only one?
No, I think you're right on. I think that when you look at Romney being the inevitable nominee that the media thinks he is, he should be able to have sailed through this debate, even if it was difficult, and look like the front runner, look like the guy who's the nominee. He didn't look like that at all tonight. Mm-hmm. I think people see this debate, I think, leaves a little blood in the water, and I think that the challengers, the conservative alternatives to Romney are going to stay into this race. I think a guy like Rick Santorum, I think a guy like Newt Gingrich, they're going to say, look, we're going to continue on. We're going to go to Florida and we're going to continue to pressure this guy because he does not look like a nominee yet. Not at all.
You take a look at what the headlines are going to be tomorrow. Certainly, we know the New York Times is going to lead with Juan Williams exposes the pandering of Newt Gingrich, and the blogs are going to lead with Newt Gingrich spanks Juan Williams on national television, and you saw it here first. Have you ever seen anyone stand up and applaud during a debate? Have you ever seen a standing ovation in a debate? Because, I mean, there are people out there who are far more political junkies than I am, and have watched many, many more debates than I have. But I've never actually seen it, a standing ovation. Have you ever seen that before?
I've never seen a standing ovation in a debate. I've never seen a debate that lively in terms of an audience.
I think one of the other stories from this event and from this debate is that, I want to make sure I say it properly, is that I didn't feel that I was shortchanged from anybody. I feel I heard complete full answers. I think one of the great things they did was not have the bell. They didn't get involved in really timing people. Let them go. Let them answer questions. Let them get into it. And I think that it did a lot. And one of the people I think that it injured was Ron Paul in the later half of that debate when the first question out of the break was about foreign policy, and he did what he did, which is dig into minutia, and quite literally, for all the energy he had earlier and great responses he had to defining militarism and defense spending, military spending and defense spending, he put people to sleep. I was actually sorry to see it happen.
No, I agree. Anytime the debate goes to foreign policy, I think it's a troubled area for Ron Paul. Look, I really liked the minute and a half that the candidates were given to answer questions, and actually the ability for them to mix it up with one another. That is why it's important. That's why, even though John Huntsman got out of the race today and endorsed Mitt Romney. That's why him getting out of the race actually helped the other candidates on the stage, because they were all given more time. And as we saw, this is a much different debate than we've seen before, because the candidates were given more opportunities to have a more conversational tone with one another, an ability to really go back and forth. I mean, look at the debate that Mitt Romney and Rick Santorum had early on in that debate. Mm-hmm. We would have never seen anything like that before.
Right.
And I think it goes to show you that these candidates can manage these debates themselves. I thought that was all very appropriate, back and forth. It has to be frustrating for the other candidates a little bit, because at times you feel like they're being left out. But I thought every candidate got their time in this debate.
It brings up a fantastic question, which is, did the early debates work best for Romney? Because Romney only had the short answer. Romney only had the simple answer. That's what Romney was built on. If he has to now dig and explain and extrapolate and really kind of put together this arc of a sentence, are we going to see a Romney that doesn't have it in the clutch?
No, I think you're absolutely right. I think that Mitt Romney wants to run the clock out of this game. Okay, he's got a lead. He wants to sit on the ball and not give opportunities for the other candidates. This debate structure gave opportunities to these other candidates, and I think that earlier debates, it was easy for Romney to kind of, just say, I'm going to stay out of it. I'm going to come out unscathed, and I'll be okay. But the thing we have to remember is the general election debates are going to be much more conversational, because it's one-on-one debates with the president. And so think about it. Mitt Romney struggled tonight with a one-on-one debate with Newt Gingrich. He struggled in a one-on-one debate with Rick Santorum. He struggled in a one-on-one debate with Rick Perry. If he's the inevitable front runner, and he has weak moments against the rest of the Republican field, I worry about what a one-on-one debate with Obama is going to be like.
And I think it's a strong point. Now I certainly rank this in the same way you do, and I would say that Gingrich did win this debate, but I can't help but think that the winner of this debate might be, in some people's eyes, Rick Perry, because that performance, he was strong, he was concrete. He actually corrected, I forget the woman's name, who was from one of the, I think it was Wall Street Journal, one of the financial papers. He corrected her when she said, so when it comes to the housing problem, you don't have an answer. And he says, well, I talked about taxation, and I forgot the second one. You see what I did there? And I thought that was incredibly good. He was so completely on top of it. And I think that story is going to get told repeatedly. One of the things that we've talked about is that the establishment, certainly for Mitt Romney, you take a look at that long list of endorsements, but the blogosphere, the bloggers, a lot of new media for Rick Perry, I think it is them who are going to pick up this mantle and say, did you see that? This is what we've been talking about. Finally coming into his own. Just don't know if it's too little, too late. I thought Santorum had a good performance, but I got to tell you, I think Ron Paul did edge him out in that performance. I think that there are going to be a lot of people who are going to be happy with how tough he is. He is so completely willing to take on anyone in their wheelhouse at any time. It's actually amazing. It's stunning. But I think that Paul really, Paul actually got to the moment where he wasn't. A lot of people say that because of his mannerisms, because of his speech patterns, he gets a little doddering in the way he responds to things. That happened at the end. When he did the whole thing about defense spending and military spending, he was right on. When he talks about bringing bases back, he was solid for his talking points and for his audience. But I can't stress enough that I talked about Perry. Newt looked angry. And I am willing to say that an angry Newt is not only a fun Newt, not only an enjoyable Newt, but that's a Newt that can win elections. That Newt that we saw on the screen today, that's a guy who wins elections.
Well, let's go and look at what he is doing. We want a fighter. Okay, and Newt Gingrich has the ability to go. Look at how fast his mind processes those questions. He's asked a question; they're not all easy. He's got not only an answer right away.
Right.
He has the kaboom! I'm coming at you right away. I mean, it's like it's instinctual what he's doing. It's not, oh, I've got the answer. I've prepared for this. I know it. It's instincts, and I think that's what makes him such a great debater, and that's what Romney lacks. Romney's good if it's, hey, I've gotten this question 4 million times. I know my answer on it. Here it is. I can explain it. Here that is. Gingrich is, I mean, you think about what these debates have been like if you didn't have an entertainer like Gingrich. I mean, would we have 15? I think people would be saying, oh, these are kind of boring. We're sick of them. But Newt Gingrich makes you want to turn into him. I mean, there's not a dry moment.
Well, listen, we're here, and we've been giving you this post-debate wrap-up. Also hope you like the new system. There's a lot more we're going to be adding over the next couple of days. We're going to work on some live broadcasts Wednesday night and Tuesday night and Wednesday night. Then, of course, Thursday for the debate. Friday, we're going to have pre-primary coverage. We're going to be giving you all the latest breaking, the latest polls, the latest from the campaign events all around the state, and then Saturday, this is it. And we have been referring to the fact that South Carolina is high noon. I don't change from that whatsoever. What I do say now is that it's no longer Romney's to lose. I think that it's absolutely to a case where it's somebody else's to actually win.
Yeah, I think that we're going to see a scenario now that I think I could paint a scenario where Gingrich and Santorum are both strong enough, and Romney might not look as strong as people thought he was. That both of them say, you know what, we're going to Florida, and we're going to duke it out there, and still the race will probably narrow. I mean, if Perry isn't able to finish above fifth place, he's probably out of this race, even with his good debate performance tonight. But I think moving forward, I think that we're seeing, even in the last couple debates, we're seeing that Romney is struggling against these attacks. And I think that it gives life to these campaigns because Romney doesn't look like the guy that the media keeps telling us he is. And that is a huge problem for him.
As we've discussed more than once, politics is about expectations. When you're at 42% in Florida, 32% in South Carolina, it is hard to meet those expectations. And debate performances like this make it a little bit tougher. You're going to want to keep it at TIR Nation. That's where you're going to be getting all of the great coverage from South Carolina, the blogs, the videos, and, of course, this live coverage. TIR Nation is where you go, TIRNation.com. Be sure to spread the word on Facebook and Twitter. You can follow Craig at Iowa GOPer, IOWA GOPER. You can follow me at Tony Katz, TonyKatz. So glad you joined us tonight. What did you think of the debate? Send us a tweet, Iowa GOPer. And, of course, Tony Katz, Iowa, IOWA, GOPER, and TONYKATZ. We will catch you tomorrow. Be sure to all day check out TIR Nation, TIRNation.com for the latest breaking information from South Carolina. It's been a long day, a little tired. Craig, good to see you. Good night, everybody. Tomorrow.